Hello, and welcome to The Picture, a Koch Industry Spotlight series offering a look at the transformational and inspirational stories happening right here in Wichita. I'm Melissa Scheffler. At Koch, a college education isn't the only path to a leadership position. Jared Benson is proof of that. As Chief Information Officer today, you could say his career journey at Koch began the same way many employees start their day, in the parking lot. We sat down with Jared to learn more about the on-the-job education he has received over the last 17 years and his unique path to leading the information technology capability for all of Koch. Here's what he had to say. Jared Benson has nearly 2 decades of experience in IT and cybersecurity at Koch. But his first experience with Koch actually came while working for another company.
My first summer job, I worked for a local company based here in Wichita, painting or striping parking lots. And one of the lots we painted, it wasn't a Koch company, but we were out here as a subcontractor painting Koch's lots. And I didn't know what Koch did at the time. You know, I was just a 16-year-old kid. I was like, wow, that's a nice building, and you know, I'd really like to work there someday.
Would you say this has been a traditional path here at Koch?
No, not at all for me. I have a lot of on-the-job experience, no college degree. Came here after I had about 4 or 5 years experience working in technology. Learned on the job, really.
Explain what you did before this, though, because you were a machinist, right?
Yeah, I was a CNC machinist when I was 19 or 20 years old. I worked third shift, so worked the night shift. Didn't like getting home from work and then sleeping all day when all my friends were out living their life. So I stumbled into technology. So I went from being a CNC machinist to basically an internet help desk, you know, answering phone calls and helping customers. Somewhere along the way, I figured out that troubleshooting technology issues and being able to communicate were skills and just natural aptitudes I had. That really is what got me into tech. I liked working on and figuring stuff out, tinkering and trying to solve problems.
Why do you think you were successful in moving up here at Koch?
A few things. One, the culture and the environment. So I believe pretty strongly that there were supervisors and coworkers that believed in what I brought to the table and put me in positions to be successful. And what I learned over time is surrounding yourself with people that make you better is really a good thing to do, and it's something I really jumped after.
Do you hire people who don't have a college degree?
Yeah, several of our key technology leadership roles don't have 4-year traditional degrees, and others have gone through different tech training, tech schools. We have quite a few folks from the military that are in our cybersecurity teams, so we hire folks all the time that don't have your traditional degree.
What would you say to someone else in the position you were in who might not feel that they are resume qualified for a job at Koch? What advice would you give them?
I would say apply for roles and get out and meet people and understand that, you know, it's not so much about the credential, it's about your ability and what you bring to the table. Don't give up. I mean, you keep trying, get to know folks, and apply for, you know, entry-level roles or even, you know, mid-career roles if that's where you're at, and look to grow. But you got to keep trying. While
education and training are important, there's also undeniable value in real-world experience. When we return, we'll learn more about the Koch apprenticeship program that's offering prospective accountants training and practical work experience, as well as a paycheck. More on that when we return. Welcome back to The Picture. Going back to school isn't easy when you have a long list of responsibilities at home. Just ask Kristen Wassinger, who made the decision to rejoin the workforce after taking time away to start a family. She discovered an experimental apprenticeship program training new accounting professionals for potential careers at Koch. Here's Kristen's story. Restarting your career can be scary, but for Kristen Wassinger, a trainee in Koch's new accounting apprenticeship program, it's been a welcome opportunity to try something new.
I was looking for a change because I knew that I wanted to be challenged and I had a potential there that hadn't been met yet. And I wanted to find somewhere that offered versatility, but also a lot of intellectual challenges. When I saw this, I knew that it was probably the right choice for me.
Did you think an accounting apprentice would be the route you would go when you first started out, like exploring?
10 years ago, I would have said no, you know, but I think after having kids and maturing, I realized that there's a lot of different avenues into a career that you really love. And I found this to be stimulating mentally for me, and I really found it intriguing.
What made sense to you with this?
The thing that made the most sense to me was the flexibility. I mean, they really offered me an ability to take classes part-time, but then get experience part-time at the same time. They were going to be flexible and accommodating with my schedule. I think that was the biggest thing, but also cost was a huge thing for us too. I mean, we were trying to pay for childcare at the same time, knowing that my classes are taken care of and knowing that I'm also going to get paid while I'm here. That was a huge help for us.
That's a barrier that we really wanted to focus on and knocking down, is that it's expensive to stop whatever thing you're doing in life, to go back and go to school, or even to transition directly from high school. It's an expensive proposition. We wanted to lower that barrier and lower the opportunity cost and help ease that transition for people.
How does the program work?
It starts with the foundational classroom setting, trying to teach basics, the concepts, sort of the underlying financial frameworks to people. That then transitions, depending on somebody's background and how much actual experience they have in the area of finance or accounting or tax, that progresses then at whatever pace is right for the individual into actual on-the-job training. And then that person will spend time working with a credentialed accountant or a professional accountant or tax professional, really learning more about accounting and tax applications in a big corporate setting. And so that's one of the big advantages for people coming in, is they have that opportunity to learn things much quicker.
Do you feel like you're learning at a faster pace than a traditional student, maybe?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's more meaningful because you're seeing how it applies in the situation. You don't have that lag time of learning something and then 3 to 4 years later you're applying it. It's all at once.
When you look back at where you were a year ago, maybe getting the bug in you to start looking at something else, or over the summer, even a couple months ago, did you think you would be sitting here inside Koch and then in a year, potentially a full-time accounting position?
I think if somebody would have said you're going to be working at Koch in a year, I would have been like, you're crazy. Like, I'd never felt qualified for something like this, but I think that's the great thing about this program is it finds people that are willing to put the work in, but they just need an opportunity. It's pretty amazing.
When we return from the break, we'll learn more about Koch's hiring process from Head of Human Resources, Kara Chenault-Reed, and why retaining contribution-motivated, self-actualizing employees is a priority. More on that in just a few minutes. There's nothing more discouraging than applying for a job only to realize midway through you don't check all the boxes, have the right credentials, or meet every qualification. These are barriers that Koch has actively sought to overcome by focusing more on the individual, their abilities, and what they are capable of, rather than where they come from or their credentials. How does Koch look at its employees?
Well, our employees are our biggest asset. And having 120,000 employees around the globe, obviously we want to encourage and strive to get more people internally looking at opportunities. So they have the opportunity to grow and develop into new roles, pursue their passions and things that match with their innate abilities. It's all part of the self-actualization journey that we're all on.
So what does it mean to be contribution motivated?
That's a great question, because that's what we're looking for at Koch. It's a combination of multiple factors, but first and foremost, it's that opportunity to be naturally curious. So what that means is you're also very focused on learning. That lifelong learner who's looking to continue to learn, whether it's in their own role or looking around and trying to understand how things fit together. It's somebody who's coming to work every single day and wanting to make a change, make themselves better, make everyone else better around them. And I think it's somebody who's extremely courageous. They're willing to step out, raise issues, look for opportunities, maybe where we can do things better. And it's about coming to work every single day, looking to create mutual benefit.
Napoleon Stanley is one of these employees. When his journey at Koch was at a turning point, he turned to Koch Careers for his next opportunity. So you started searching for other jobs within Koch, right?
Right.
And you found one that you liked, right?
Mm-hmm. The further I moved into the application, I began to feel less confident about what I was bringing to the table and about what they were looking for. And so I just withdrew the application. Well, I thought I withdrew the application.
So you hit the X. You thought you backed out of the application.
Yeah.
And then when do you get a call?
The next day, actually. I got a call the next day, and it was she said, hey.
And who was it?
Her name's May. She's a recruiter for Georgia Pacific. She approached me with some lighthearted banter, like, what was wrong with my application? Why didn't you finish the application? And I explained to her, I just wasn't sure that I was going to be able to provide everything that they were looking for in the role.
And what was her response?
Her response is, you're not likely going to provide everything. What we need you to be able to do is be willing to learn, be able to learn fast, and be able to apply yourself. And we want to have the discussion with you because if you're a good fit culturally for the team, we'd like to have you.
So what did you do next?
I went ahead and finished the application. I believe it was a couple of days later she set me up with some interviews. Within a week's time, I was offered the role.
How's it going?
We're living in an environment right now where there's a lot of opportunity in the technology space, so I'm excited to be a part of it. It's an amazing experience. I'm surrounded by people who are very talented and have great leadership. I'm working on products that I feel like are changing people's lives, which brings a lot of satisfaction. I think that's probably the biggest benefit of working at Koch is you are surrounded by some of the most encouraging and capable and talented people. Honestly, I wouldn't want to work anywhere else because I just love the environment that I get to work in every day.
Interested in working alongside some of the folks featured in this episode of The Picture? With almost 250 local openings in Wichita, there could be a role that aligns with your skills and innate abilities. Take your first step by visiting kochcareers.com. Thanks for watching this episode of The Picture. We hope this gives you a different look at the positive stories happening right here in our community. See you next Sunday.